wherever you are. Make it Truth Frequency Radio.
When you finally boil it all down, magic is imagination. We are moving into an age of manifestation. Things become actually less material, more ethereal. The golden dawn is when we awaken to this new station of life. What you think becomes real quicker. Regain our imagination, regain our inner child, and let that inner child out.
My name is Frank Castle, founding member of the music group Heistlick and New York City Neo Shaman. After a serious injury sidelined my career in 2013, I decided to set out on an adventure to search for myself with the help of the plant medicine ayahuasca. What I discovered waiting for me was something I could have never prepared for. It was time for me to become something more, someone more. It was time I became fearless. Shine as my heart beats a rhythm with space and time. When the light starts to shine inside your third eye, you awake to the knowledge that you never die.
What is up, everyone? My name is Frank Castle, Jermaine Man, your sorcerer supreme, right here every Saturday night on Truth Frequency Radio. And I am joined by my etherical translator, Paula Milo.
Hey, everyone.
Hopefully the sound is fantastic. I love you guys, miss you guys. Before we start, I want to give a shout out to Chris and Cherie Gio. Without you guys, we wouldn't be here doing this like this. And this is quite amazing. Lots of stuff going on.
You're very calm tonight.
I have some issues right now. So yesterday I had massive downloads. I don't know if I want to start the show with this part, but yeah, maybe I will, whatever. I told you I went into the shower and it hit me like a ton of bricks. I just kept going ground. And I was doing like, thanks. I'm thankful for this, thankful for that. And they were like, dude, shut up. And I go, what's the matter? And I couldn't breathe. And then one at a time, I was seeing my, like, you know what? Yeah, it's good we start the show like this. I was seeing versions of myself that I've been, whether in a fractal or my past life, whatever, however you want to call it. But I saw the darkest guy. He was pretty evil. That's the one that I'm like, nah, I'm not down with him. And he rolled up and he's like, yo, so I'm coming in. I'm like, yeah, you're not going nowhere, bro. And then he was like, no, I'm coming home. And I'm like, oh, okay, come here. And I don't even know why I said that. I said, come over here. You're me, so come here. And he just jumped in. That was it. And then the nice one was like, hey, why are you letting him in? That's the dark one. And I'm like, well, you could come too.
Right. You're bringing all your fractals in. Yeah.
When I said that, it was like a gang rush into my chest.
Mm-hmm.
I was telling you I have a hole in my chest right now. It's open, like when Optimus Prime in the cartoon movie pulls the matrix of leadership out of his chest. He opens that front part of his chest, and then inside lies the matrix, and he pulls it out to show everyone, you have the power. That was actually the song that goes off. You got the touch, you got the power, right? But I know that's cheesy, but
it makes sense.
I have no reference points.
Makes
I'm
sense.
giving you what I can reference to. I was saying thank you. And because of our house here, I told you Goddess Bass was floating around me in a chair, just like there, just like our thing. And she's like, I'm so proud of you. And I just looked at her and I was like, oh, look, cool. High five. And she came around on my left side and kissed my cheek prior to everyone collectively jumping in my chest. I'm going to post a couple of things in the room. Just Give me one moment.
Can you ask the folks in the chat room? Can you hear us? Okay. I just want to.
Yeah, I think they could hear us pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're doing. We got a good volume going here. Yeah, Yo Joe for sure. Right. Stop the inner Earth snake people.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
So there's just a lot of things coming into the gnosis points. So I was crying as I was releasing stuff yesterday. And I said, once again, is this going to hurt? And I get the gnosis. No, just breathe. And I was taking these short breaths, and each breath, one character was coming in, one character's coming in. And I started freaking out. I'm like, make a line or something. And it looked like a peace symbol jumping into me the way they were lining up, coming from the sides and in front. And I screamed for my dragon because it was going to knock me over. I'm like, yo, protect me, man. And I screamed it like, dragon, protect me. And he came right out and cleared a path and made a line. Everyone lined up. They came in one at a time on a breath. But I was showing you, I was very short of breath.
Oh, I know. It took you an hour to pull yourself together yesterday after this.
I felt like I purged very deep from deep inside of me. So the changes have been intense. Now, I want to talk a little bit about fractals and versions of yourself, because I think definitions and words are just throwing people off. So I am a whole being, right? Mm-hmm. But I stand. Now, I posted this in the chat room, so you guys could go to tfrlive.com and go join the chat room if you want. I wish I could be on video right now to show you this, but I posted two things in there. One, we're going to go back to. The first one is from last week. I'm going to pick up on that in a minute. But patterns, fractal patterns, DNA, right at the center of this photo is a torus field. Okay? If you stand in the middle of that sphere, that torus field, I'm showing Paula, that's what you generate. But you're also on a planet that generates that. So each individual generates that. Every living being generates their own version of that.
And every living thing around you generates their own version of that as well.
Their own, yes. Okay, which comes out of the patterns on the bottom, right here. The different patterns and fractals at the bottom all represent, including the flower of life, the torus field, you standing in this, within this, and pieces of you flying out everywhere. Now, you're just standing there. You're not actually going anywhere. So you're a whole being.
Right.
Okay. But as you can see, those boxes inside the torus field, right? Now, your own personal has, each one of those boxes is filled with a projection or a version or a fractal of a piece of you in this now, in the now, I should say.
Well, it's always now.
Because it's always now, going through this or that.
Yes.
Whatever said situation. But you're still a whole being. For sure, whole. 100% raw consciousness down the pipeline. Your returning to you is really just focus and awareness. Mm-hmm. So you didn't go anywhere, because we're all standing in a room, and I've said this, on a level, one level or another up, where we are projecting into a giant torus field like that, where it flips in infinitely on itself. So the more things change, the more they stay the same, because just the images on the wall are changing. The shadows on the wall are changing, right? And you're picking and choosing what to focus on as time goes by, and the torus field flips as it represents a timing source. And it turns in on itself, and it's the 90s, and then it's 2000, and it's 2010, and it just keeps going. And you're like, wow, as above, so below. The more things change, the more they stay the same. But we're at the point where we're taking focus off all those little TVs. So inside the torus field.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
That's a good way to put it. The boxes are represented. They're there. You could just see them and go, hi, look at those boxes. They look like little TVs on the TV screens. Neo, when he's sitting with the architect in the Matrix, and he's like, versions of him are on TV screens yelling and screaming, but Neo is standing in the room. And he's like, oh, this is pretty interesting. All those other versions of yourself answer differently than you.
Right.
Whereas you come here with love, right? And he's just like, you better hope this doesn't happen again. Because that was the fractal of him. That was him living out all the other things or dreams and this and that, where you make a choice to go right here, but you go left there, and it's infinite. It's infinite because that donut torus rolls in on itself. So it's not like an infinite linear thing. It's infinite donut
Circular,
of time.
Yeah. That's why it's always now.
Right. And there's, from what I've seen, they showed me like different shaped patterns that represent, and they're different colors, so like blue and a different shape of a flower of life version. They'd go, that is the now from back at during this time zone. So it covers from here to here. But that was like the time before time. And I'm like, what? Okay, the time you're in now, here, that's the red one. And they showed it to me on a disc. It was like a floppy disk. They put it in, and I go, hey, look, there's me right there. You just focus in on it. And it was this torus field floating in on itself, and everything was alive and moving. It was like a living organism on a CD disc that you could pick where you were in time. But if you wanted to go to like time of like unicorns or I'm just being fantastical here. Back prior to Atlantis, stuff like that, you had to go to the other colored disc. So it was like when time got wiped out.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious.
It gets stored away.
Yeah. They
Storage
stop
closet,
it there,
yeah.
and like it resets here,
mhm.
right? So maybe it's like during each age. Maybe we entered Age of Aquarius, so it's this color.
Right.
And Age of the Ram was that color. Maybe that's what it was. I'm not quite sure, 100%. Naturally, I'm not OD speculating, but I don't have the answers to everything. Anyway, so those fractals of you, the TV sets are turning off. Like, I'm turning them off. Like, nope, I'm here. I want 100% of my focus in Frank's body. I want it in his awareness.
This is what you're saying yesterday.
This is what I'm saying in life.
Oh,
yes,
in life.
As
Okay.
I return to me. You
Yeah.
could merge with your higher self all day long. That's great. But then you're still waiting. What are you waiting for? Well, it's time. Time for what? Time for all these other things to happen.
Yes.
Would you think just one thing would happen and we'd all just clap and there'd be solar flashes and there'd be events with, and we'd be flying pink pigs in the sky? Like, no, there's a whole set of events that need to go off. And if they don't go off the way they need to go off, which is already perfectly timed specifically for you, you can pop the sack you're in. I know that sounds funny, but your human body, your flesh suit. How do you feel about that?
That's a lot of information to take in. It's a lot.
Do you think you could be overloaded with too much information and energy where you could literally fry your brain?
Yes.
I don't mean to talk at you. It's
No,
just
you're
that
not talking at me.
I got the cigar, so I'm like,
No,
hey, check this out,
no.
Paula.
I think you can, and I think that's what causes a lot of mental illness. People that cannot handle those realities because they see them all at once. So I think a lot of mental illness diagnoses are incorrect. I think it's exactly that. I think it's people seeing the other versions of themselves, people seeing beyond what normal people see. And
Yeah.
I think it's all happening
Well,
now.
your restrictors are too tight or too
not
tight
and
enough.
I don't think they can. Their human brains just can take it.
percentage up or down with no ayahuasca, DMT, mushrooms, cannabis.
No, just gnosis.
Nothing.
Just
Just no
gnosis.
solid gnosis will make you fly through the roof.
Terrify you or enlighten you,
Okay.
depending on what your
I saw a
programming is.
ghost, and this was back in the day. I talk about this all this.
Yeah,
98.
well, you and your brother, you and your brother
my
turn
beard
white,
turned white.
and your brother has the
You-
sideburns. That
Yeah, like he looks like Mr. Fantastic. So you say to yourself, I could handle this. And I tell people all the time, they're like, well, you see it. I want to see it. I'm like, you sure? Because I couldn't look at a deer. And you people laugh at me, be like, bro, I'll wrestle a crocodile. I'm like, okay, well, if the crocodile's like standing on 2 feet and holding a spear with an army of men behind him, clamoring to rape you and take your soul, you still down? Are you still down? If they're in the room with you and you're like out of place, out of time, you still good?
That's terrifying.
You good, bro? Bro, you good? Okay, check it out. Oh, if you're impregnated 16 times
That's not.
and
let's
every
not
4
go
minutes
there.
have to have an alien baby,
That's not.
you're going to be good? You good with that, right?
No.
Because all I could do is watch.
I know. That's
Or
all
go
anyone
through
can do.
my own version.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they're like, nah. And I'm like, well, then don't bother me.
Some of these things are necessary evils. And it's hard to say
You're
that.
clearing your own stuff when this goes
Yeah.
on. All right, I want to talk about this real quick. So I posted a picture as soon as I got in the room tonight, okay, of a guy playing a guitar. It's an image from a book. And this has to do with 5G. So we're going to try to just connect it real quick and connect it to what I was just talking about and all the new stuff that's happening and why things are so weird.
So basically, it's a diagram of a man playing a guitar and how sound is being
projected forward from it.
Projected.
Okay, so it goes side to side, somewhat behind him, but we're looking at the model from the angle. So it's basically going, let's say, 3 feet across and 25 feet long. The guy, the way he's playing it, right? We're just going to give a base because some people cannot see this. Right?
Yeah, a lot of people can't see it. So
the first box, like 5 feet from the guy, the sound travels out. It's just traveling. The next 4 to 5 feet, it develops this sperm-like tail, right? On the next set of feet, it develops a shape.
That's the frequency forming.
It's a frequency field, right? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, it's forming, yeah.
Oh, she's good. So that was better than what I was going to say. Sugar boats. Okay. So it forms the first part of the frequency field. So now you're in the third box ahead. So you're like 4, 8, 12 feet out, right? And it's now forming a head from the tail. So you can tell the tail from the head. Okay. Then in the next block, it forms a full shape, frequency.
Around you. It's
around you.
Completely around. It completely surrounds you.
But it forms a shape as well, right? So I'm assuming some frequencies being pushed at you because sound moves forward at you, right? You send it at someone. You listen in your headphones even now. So you're just hitting yourself with a constant barrage of a certain tempo, frequency, vibration.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now it puts you in this box that you're not aware of.
Right,
that's covering
it's surrounding you.
Right. And it could go out in different directions. In other words, if you're holding your cell phone and listen to your the radio, you're in front of it holding the way you want to hear it is really projecting the sound at you, whereas somebody to your left or right, they'll hear it, but it won't be surrounding them on the opposite side. They'll just say, well, yeah, I could hear what he's playing over here, but I could still hear you on this side.
Right.
It's not quite annoying. He's in his own bubble.
Me. Mm-hmm.
So these boxes are formed. Now, I told you a while back, I think it was one of my first shows. Literally might be one, 2 or 3. I talk about eating mushrooms and being in my ex's apartment and being trapped in a song,
mm-hmm.
the I'm So Happy song. I know we spoke about this at the end last week, but I got to cover this. So the song filled the room, and I instantly was trapped in this. And it's the same color they're using in the literature,
in the
diagram that it was in the room.
But that happened to me too. When we were under that one time, you had the meditation music on, and I said, you have to change this music. It's keeping me in a net. The music, the sound of that meditation music put me in a net, and I couldn't get out.
Like a web of energy.
It was like
etherically.
It was like a net, like a net full of fish.
Oh, snap.
Like that. And it was the worst feeling, and that's why I was yelling to you from the other room, please shut the music.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, and you didn't want to because you liked it, but I said I can't listen to it. It's got me trapped. You know, and I feel that way too when I listen to certain music.
Now, I talked about this the other day. I can't listen to Alice in Chains no more because I'm just not. I never did heroin, but I'm not in that downer state. And I'm going to just talk to you a second about this. Alice in Chains has a song called Man in the Box. So as I'm reading this post about the sound traveling in the boxes
mm-hmm.
and me being trapped in the box, I never really put 2 and 2 together because I refuse to listen to them anymore.
Right.
I love them, but I'm not that anymore.
Because we put ourselves in that box.
You can hear him going, I am the man in the box. Somebody come and save me. What is he doing? He's singing the song and he's trapping himself
in a box.
as the rock star in the rock star box. What did he do? He killed himself. He dies because he was trapped and no one came to save him. This was what the song was about years before he went and did it. Or when it happened, I'm sorry, honey. They found him rotting in his house or in his apartment. They opened the door. They were like, yo, he's been here for weeks like this. And I'm like, oh no. Right? So song after song being produced, mixed, mastered by those in charge who would set things at certain frequencies or certain dimensions for us. And you don't think it's real. Well, not you.
No, people don't think it's real, but it is. You know, when it locks you in that state of mind, you know, I can't listen to music. I loved music like that. I can't listen to it now. I can't watch Criminal Minds anymore. That was one of my favorite television shows. Now I can't even watch that anymore.
Okay, the TV works the same way. Why can't you watch Criminal Minds?
Because it puts me in that state. You know, we were watching Law & Order SVU. Remember? We were watching because we don't watch regular TV. We watch a lot of TV on Netflix or the Roku TV. Very rarely we watch regular TV. So we were binging Law & Order SVU, and then I looked at Frank, and I was like, I can't watch this anymore.
You made a joke to me a few times, like, yo, I feel like I should be getting paid like I'm on the job. And you started getting the same look on your face as the women on the show. Like, yo, this is some serious stuff. But we're just watching the show and getting affected. I'm like, yo, look at, I did a song with Ice-T, right? And I'm like, look at him. Look at how old that fool looks right now. I mean, he's living good, fine. But he's on the show and all this terrible stuff's always happening. And it just keeps it in the gnosis over and over. Then you hear things like, well, Heath Ledger was playing the Joker and he was taking antipsychotics. And when this guy played this dude, he had to completely lose his mind to do it. And then this happened and you go, how is that even possible?
But it happens every day. It happens every day. That's why people need to be off planet.
Man
it happens every day. But we have the key to get out. You just have to say no.
There's some I do listen to, by the way.
I don't want this today. I don't want this. This is not for me. When I decided to leave my career, when I couldn't work anymore, I had to, my medical condition, I couldn't work anymore.
I feel like we're working up the layer right now.
When I decided it was time to leave, it hurt.
Music,
but
television, the box you sit in at work. I'm sorry.
But I had the key. I didn't know. We torture ourselves over things. Some are big things. Some are small things. Every single day. Torture ourselves over them.
And what does that do? When you're sitting there just torturing yourself?
Keeps you in that low vibration.
Keeps you in a box?
Yeah.
Okay, so now we have a box with the music you're listening to, the TV you're watching, the job you're at, maybe the situation you're in, on and on and on and on. And you have the key.
Frank and I keep screaming with these cats. We can't have anything nice. And I feel like my grandmother now. Like I'm saying things that my family would say and that I promised myself I would never say. And here I am saying them. And it's like, I guess it's inevitable. You know, but we have to be conscious of that because we have to break that.
Right. Now, think about how many boxes we could go infinitely in a direction or multiple directions just for Frank or Paula. Right?
Oh, thousands.
Okay, thousands.
Thousands.
So, okay, thousands. Listen, she's still going.
Worrying about things that may not even, like Frank worrying about sharks. We live by the 5 train in the Bronx. Okay. Unless the Sharknado situation happens here, Frank will never have to worry about a shark. Okay,
unless I'm fighting the sharks.
Me worrying about things that aren't possibly going to happen. You know, a zombie attack. We live on the first floor. Like, you know, we don't have enough plywood to do all the way. You know, like stop worrying about things that you know.
So it's a Russian nesting doll on the craziest, most like 3-dimensional. 4-dimensional kind of boxes everywhere, encompassing one another on layers and levels we're not even aware of in every area. Okay, I'm going to connect it to the first thing I said tonight about the fractals.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you said you had the key.
Yeah.
You open one
yep.
and you start
Yep.
the next one comes into you and you're like, wait, I wasn't aware of that one. So that's a fractal coming back to you.
Coming back.
It's a piece of you returning, even though you've been standing there the whole time. You just trapped yourself in awareness bubbles and boxes.
Because it's just like what we were talking about this the other
boxes.
day. We were talking about this the other day. Clearing issues. Our FearLess family, our Facebook family, we have a big family of fearless people, and we think we're done with an issue where it's resolved. I've worked through it. I've mastered this, and then it just creeps up and bites you in the ass, and you're just like, I really thought I was done with that.
The best is, remember when Jameson in Spider-Man 3 had all the pills on his desk, and he was talking, and he didn't want to be bothered, so he tells the girl, we don't want to be bothered. We're going to talk right now. And then he's in the middle of saying what he's got to say. He's about to blow up, and she goes, eh. And she jolts him. That's kind of reminding me, because remember, every time, take your pill, take your this, take your that, and it's constantly just hitting you and shorting you. And he's like, run, like you. He's at the boiling point now.
Yes.
Even though it's all looks like it's trying to be help. What are we doing in this world?
Damage.
Okay, self-imposed.
Damage to ourselves. Self-imposed damage.
Reptilians don't matter if you got the key.
Oh, wow.
With the key, you get to just drop the suit and stand up. Anything that's standing before you at that point will be it'll either be one of us, one of the creators, or one of them will be like, oh, no, it's one of the creators.
Yeah, you got to do it.
All right. Your protection from deception will be right back. This is Fearless. I'm Frank Castle. That's Paula Milo. And
No hate, no hype, no fear. We are TFR. Truth Frequency Radio.
Am I awake or is this a dream? A fantasy where I'd rather be. So come and talk with me. Come and walk with me. Is this a wake-up call from my reality? Have you seen my friends? Have you seen my girl? Wake me up from this. I'm trapped in this world. Thought you were alive.
what is up? It's your man, the Sorcerer Supreme, Frank Castle, right here, coffeeed up. This is Fearless. I'm here with my etherical translator, Paula Milo. And I'm charged with energy right now.
Yeah.
I've been shaking all day.
This was like, you didn't start the show like this, but wow.
I feel like I'm a wrestler right now, and I got to come out and pound some information in. But yeah, if you like that song, that's Come Alive by Frank Castle. Check it out. Listen to it on YouTube. Download it. Go to IamWeAreFearless.com. Check out everything there. Just check it out. Shout outs to my man Sergio Garcia. So I got in all that information. I felt really good because last week when we got cut off, it kind of annoyed me. It bothers me, but because those connections sometimes.
No, I understand. Yeah, you got to get that message out when you get it.
The connections are too intense, and people need to understand, or at least have a place where they can listen to someone talk about a practical understanding from their perspective of what's going on, so they're not completely losing it. Like when they think to themselves, well, I can't go to a rave no more. I can't do this no more. I can't go to the club. It's not just because of the loud music, but now think about it, how people are being programmed. I had to shut music off at multiple ceremonies because we were hearing the programming in the music.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So
we had one of our people heard the ayahuasquero himself.
Okay.
Felt
my boy Eric.
He was abusive.
Said you have to shut this music off right now. We were in my basement and the guy was singing, and he's like, this ayahuasquero, this shaman, rapes children while they're under, touches children. He was freaking out, and I'm like, what? He's like, I'm connected to it, bro. Shut it off. Shut it right off. Everything changed. Perfect.
Yeah.
How many times have we were listening to Desert Dwellers. Okay, now Desert Dwellers has a whole list from, let's say, 10 years to now. Their earlier stuff, when they first got in, had some stuff in there. And I'm like, what is that? Like, I didn't hear that before, right? And I realized I was listening to a live version. And then when I heard the recorded version during our ceremony, I put it in the playlist. I was like, I know the song. Here, bang, bang, bang. I loaded them up. And we started hearing the messages in the background.
Oh, so
you could hear the
you're
talking.
thinking something happened when you heard it live.
Nothing happened. It was just good music. So I added it to the playlist, but I added the regular song through their production company or wherever they did their music in the beginning is different than it was on the end.
Because you could hear it.
You can hear that there's subliminal messages in the music. Not all of it. And I'm only picking on them for a handful of tracks. Maybe I only heard like 2 or 3, maybe 4. And that's where I heard it. So I can't say who else, but I could say the song Happy has it. There's another one, the guy that he dressed like Beetlejuice and was dancing with Milo Ray Cyrus. When they did that song on the Grammys, I don't remember the name of the song, but that song has it in it. And there's slews of other tracks that just are in not only a frequency, but have messages in the music. And when you're under, you can just hear the message. And it's not affecting you. You just hear it, and then it starts like work. It's like
the movie with They Live. It's like when you put the glasses on, you can see
right.
See
so it's not really affecting you, but then because now you're aware of it.
Yeah, but now you can see
the waves are still hitting you, and you're like, oh, because it's like a tentacle that reaches out to just lightly brush you, right? Or like a wind, a breeze that lightly blows against you, and you're like, what is that? I'll be sitting here sometimes and I'll feel there will be nothing moving in here, and a wind will come through the apartment, smack me, and I'll go, but there's nothing here. But it's windy. Where's the wind coming from? Right? Like, where's this happening? What planet are you from right now that there's a wind in the apartment with everything closed, shut in a boxed room, and there's a wind all of a sudden? Right? You start wondering what the hell's going on in here. All right. So we were watching a video of, this is going to sound like I'm crapping on people. I think his name is Rex Bear from one of the shows. I think Chris Gio was on his show. God, I can't remember. That's the show that I saw Ra on, and it was like years before the show was even there.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Ra Castaldo.
Right. So I watched this guy Rex's interview with a dude with a spirit box. And I saw the original one, the original episode, so it was 2 hours long. But I skipped to the parts of the box. I didn't want to hear them talk. I just said, spirit box, let's see if this works. So this was right when Chris said, Enki came in on a cloud through the sun. No, he came in through the sun, like a portal in the sun, and now he's arrived. Right now, Chris's gnosis of that brought it into people's knowledge, right? Their gnosis.
Oh,
2 days
I agree.
After Chris spoke about it live, because he went live and spoke about this, other people instantly started Anki. It kind of whipped around.
It's in the air.
So I'm like, are they either we're setting it off here at Truth Frequency Radio, and Chris is like, that antenna, right? Beyond the Veil is just striking that chord. And that's where it comes out from. The guy says immediately. Now, this was a cut to a 38-minute clip. Okay, so.
What was the original?
2 hours and 30-something. So now Rex says to him, I wonder who this is, right? What's going to happen? So the box gets plugged in, everything's set up, and it's ready to go. And he goes, okay, let's start.
Oh, this is the thing you were listening to?
What happened in the house.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so he turns the knob, and then on the little machine, and you hear voices. It sounds like someone's tuning a radio, but not really. You can hear a girl, you can hear a guy, you can hear a kid, and they're all talking over each other. So Rex says, what is that? And he goes, that's a spirit. Right? So they're like, what? Right? Oh, okay, cool. So it's already began. So they ask who it is. Right? And it says, is that Rex? right? So I'm going, come on. Like, I'm watching this, like, I remember watching it live, going, giving this guy props. Everybody gets props going live with their stuff. Whatever it is you do, you go live and show it off. I want to see it. And if it successfully goes off, I'm like, well, that was pretty good. Are you screwing with me? I don't know. But I'm going to tell you what happened. So it says, I want you to worship me. Right? And then they go, what did it just say? So it said at the bottom of the screen what the guy really said. I want you to worship me. But they didn't hear that at that time. So he goes, hey, what did you say? And then he goes, is that Rex? And then he goes, oh, what's your name, Lance? And they go back and forth. He says his name is Lance. And I go, that's not what he said at all.
That's not what he said at all.
Right? So he starts laughing. He goes, ha, 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 I am the light. And I looked at the screen and I said, holy shit, that's not the light. And then he goes, I am Anki. And I'm like, that's not Anki. And this room
I know.
It was like the air got sucked out of this room here.
Yeah, I was doing dishes.
Okay. You were like, you need to shut that off. Well, that's exactly what you told me. Why?
Yeah, terrible, terrible energy. It filled the apartment with terrible, terrible energy. I was connected by water. I was washing dishes, so my hands were in the water, and the energy in this, it was like an arrow of energy hit me.
Now I'm going to tell you.
And I was screaming, "Shut it off!"
Okay, now I'm going to just say this. This was posted. This 38-minute clip was posted in the room by one of the moderators in Beyond the Veil, the esoteric room, right? So I'm one of the moderators there as well. And I usually don't, whatever. But it came through the lines, and it was removed. And it wasn't removed by me, right? Now, for whatever reason, it was removed. I watched that video. Whoever removed it protected every single one of you.
Yeah, from the energy.
It took Paula and I a good hour of straight work.
Yeah,
I mean,
to clear the apartment.
Work. Like, if you didn't know what I know, and I'm not saying that you don't know stuff. Let's just say you don't know anything, and you're just like, oh, there's a good show, and I'm into the paranormal. You would have got screwed right in your bazoo if you were one of the enlightened ones, lit internally.
Not even
your raw consciousness.
No, that's not even true. Any person that would have listened to that, or that did
or
listen
any
to
organic
that
portal.
Listen to that video. Yes.
It came out of the speakers.
Anyone who listened, okay, because the frequency was so low, the energy was so low, any entity waiting, hovering for an opportunity to come in, okay, now just came in on that frequency, okay? So everyone who listened to that video, if they weren't protected, they had low-level non-human entities around them.
Well, I totally understand, and I just want to say somehow I feel reptilian energy just everywhere around some of those characters. But at the same time, you know, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. So now this thing echoes out. Yeah. So you can watch a 38-minute clip of this, and all the good parts are there. All the stuff, they are like, whoa. You'd watch that and go, okay, well, I don't know how to prove this. I don't know if they're screwing with me, but this guy is supposed to be on the straight up and up, and this other guy is on the straight up and up, and they're making some money. They're definitely making money, and I'm not crapping on them. We all need to make money, but look what you're doing. Look what you're doing. You listen to any of these shows here and think that you're going to get infected by something? You're out of your mind. This is truly an area of protection of look, these guys, I don't know if they know what they're doing or don't know, but I've never witnessed that before.
I bet you they don't have a clue.
So as long as the video was on, it was like a tether into my room. So I shut the video off. I had to put on Ganesh mantras, like a up one where it's like dancing. Like,
we had the sage and everything.
I had to use bells, wands, crystals.
Yeah, we use the Rihanna wands.
I always use Rihanna's
I know.
I keep my in my backpack, so when I'm walking around, I'm like, it's like on my.
Frank has an arsenal of.
Right, so this stuff works, right? And I backed it off this way, I'm like, man, this thing is potent.
Yeah, it could have been the timing. It could have been.
No, our frequency is high.
No,
and it went.
No. I mean,
I'm like, wow.
It could have been the timing of events, like
I wrote it on his post. I wrote it on the original post. I'm not going to shout out who posted it, but I went on YouTube and I was like, you'll see me on the post on that video. I don't suggest watching it, but I know some of you are going to just do what you want to do anyway. But
just put your protection up.
Put your protection up, and
try.
Try to close down that portal because it's coming. You look into the abyss and think, I'll punch you in your face, abyss, and something comes out and goes, I'm ready. Come on, because you're going to get punched right back. You know what? I'm not going to wait for you, and it'll go for you. Right? You're just watching the video. You're like, bro, I'll just relax. Boom, it's in the room. I don't worry about me and Paula with this stuff. I'll flop around.
But what about the guy
on the floor?
That
I'll
ordered,
purge. I'll go to take a shit. The cats I worry about because they already took one of my cats.
The demon box from eBay.
Okay, thank you.
Talk about this. Do you want to hear some stuff?
Love you, Ra. So this guy orders a demon box on eBay. They're selling boxes with demons in them, sealed with wax and. All right, look, I don't know, man. You don't know what you're getting, and you don't know what's going on.
You're getting exactly what you're getting if you believe it. You know what you're getting if you believe it.
Yeah, right. If you believe in it and think like, well, there could be something in there.
Yeah, then there is.
But here's the thing. The guy takes an EMF reader, right? Now I'm going to order one of these. I don't really need it, but...
You're not... a demon box?
No. Not the demon box, an EMF meter.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
like the thing from Ghostbusters.
Yeah, I know.
Right? Okay. So it just tells you...
Like you're not ordering a demon box.
If there's electromagnetic activity in the area, it just tells you the meter goes up. Yeah. So the guy takes it out. He rubs it around the box once, twice. The second time around, it starts going off. So it only goes off in this one area. So he's like, all right, it's got to be something with this area. So then he's like, no, it's not just this area. It's like this whole other piece to it. And he's like, yo, this is really weird. So he goes through the process. He reads this little thing, and then he opens the box, right? Then the box stops making any noise. It was just an empty box. It was some sage there was something in there, like a crystal, some sage, and whatever. And the box is wide open. So he's just sitting there, and the picture falls off the wall in the background. He's like, yo, I'm out of here. I'm out.
Yeah, I would be out too.
So
don't take much.
All right.
Go ahead. Say it.
All right. So I want to try it because people are like, I think some people would say, oh, that's a fake video. But then I'm going to say, okay, think about this. Think about a Ouija board. You think a Ouija board is safe, but it's owned by Hasbro? I think, I don't know. I could be saying it wrong. Who owns Monopoly? Those are the guys that own the Ouija board. Right? So they put it in every toy store and make it readily available, put it on toys, make it a joke. They have little keychains of it and all kinds of stuff. And you think it's not working. You think, oh, this is a joke. I'm just going to do this. Meanwhile, that's really working.
But anything would work if you want it to work that way.
All right. On some level, yes. And some level, no. I think it's set up. The setup is what does it sometimes. Yes, you're correct, because you could just be in a negative mood, bring something in and blah. But, I mean, you're sitting with your friends and you're like, let's open a portal and talk to something.
Yes, because
the box that you're using with the little hands and the ritual of everyone putting their hand on it, that is like the unlock code to actually open a portal and do it.
Yes, it's the act.
It's the act
of what you're doing. Yes.
Right. So when I want to, all right, check it out. So when I sage in circles, right?
Yeah.
I'm closing portals.
Yeah.
I spiral up.
Yeah.
Clean, healthy, up and up and up. You power down. Shut your face down. I go around the TV set. You power down.
Yep.
Nothing comes out of you, but you're a screen. You're going to do what you do. It's the TV. But the portal that opens, if you're watching, I'm sorry, man. I watched, and my grandfather was watching this the other day. Ash vs. the Evil Dead.
Oh, yeah. I can't watch that anymore.
Shows like that, Charmed, movies like Hellraiser. The portal is being opened in the movie, in the TV show. They did one where we watched one of our shows. It was like one of the random shows, and it came on, and they were sitting at a table, and they do the ritual at the table, and we looked at the TV like, oh, so that just opened the portal.
Yeah.
Anyone that watches that, they'll watch the whole show. There'll be this build up to this one scene, and then boom. Oh, check this out. The show, The OA. Spoiler alert. I guess some new episode came out.
The new season's out. Don't ruin it. Don't ruin it. I didn't watch it.
So that means I got to wait for you to spend a year before you watch it. Before
A year,
I can tell
I
you.
could watch it I could watch it in a day.
Okay, flying spaghetti monster. Okay.
I don't doubt it.
Tentacles.
I don't doubt
That's all I'm
it.
saying.
It's tentacles everywhere. They show
No,
it in every movie.
it's exactly.
I saw that tentacle come through the sun in South Carolina during the eclipse. I saw it.
We had some family and close friends worried about us down there, but worry not. I was in the protective circle while things surrounded us. You, I, and Gina.
Yeah, we were in our
We're
circle.
in circles, actual flowers of life.
Yeah, actual
mandalas
circles. Yeah.
thrown on the floor out on the dock and I mean, this was a movie scene. What we did.
It was.
There was you'll never see that again, in that way. Like we were on the lake.
We'll never see it again.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, being in the middle of the water.
It was a movie
scary. It
scene.
was scary, and then
the whole place got dark.
Yeah,
it got
dark.
quiet.
The birds and the insects they went from buzzing and flying, and you heard noise, and then it just got silent. It just got silent, and yeah.
So during that time, and we knew this later in the day. These beings were rolling up on us like, this is our area, man. You are on a timer, and we are on the border that each minute that goes closer to your time of getting out of here, we get closer to you to make sure you get out.
Yeah.
So we were fully protected, and then kind of protected, then mostly protected, then just protected in the house. Like you go out on the porch, it was like, oh my God, they're staring at us right there. The two guys we were with were losing it.
The last day when we were supposed to leave, if you remember...
Get out.
It was, I went to say goodbye to the water, and they were like, you have to leave.
Shout outs to...
It's time for you to go.
Marcos, I think, sent me a thing. He's like, I didn't kind of believe you about the South Carolina thing or whatever. And now he was looking at, he's typed it into Google. I tell people, just Google it, And he sent me the article in the newspaper that said, watch out during the eclipse for the lizard men and the Sasquatch. Everyone thought it was a joke. And down there, they were dead serious. We were in the store. They were like, what is wrong with you? They were looking at me all weird when I said, oh, we had the sign-in book at the house. If you see the lizard man or if you see Sasquatch, sign the book and say like, oh, I saw it. And the book was filled. I'm like, why is there signs? Beware, watch out for lizard man. This is their area. Like you're in their area. We're not in like, what does that mean?
Okay, stay on topic.
This is topic though. So we were protected from the tentacle is what I'm getting at.
Yeah,
because of the circle.
Yeah.
The flower.
Yeah.
Whatever tried to like wackadoo us was just falling short completely. It was weird. I was standing on the porch with this kid trying to calm him down. And I saw the shadow. I thought it was the two of us, and I waved, and I didn't see my wave. Yeah. My wave was on the angle.
Yeah.
I said, "Oh look, there's my hand waving," and then I look back. This kid's like pointing, and the other thing's waving, and I had stopped waving, and it's just all you see is eyes and the hand going, and then we were watching these things jump off the dock into the water, and when I mean no splash, like they were jumping and going bleep, and I'm like, oh, they're right there. And you go into ayahuasca 100 times. Those guys all went under eye a bunch of times, seen a bunch of stuff. When it's there live, it's a complete different story, huh? So one of the things that has come up recently is about the war between the gods, not to get involved, right? We talked about that before, never getting involved with the war of the gods. The programs in this place, because this is a program reality, a hologram, a holodeck, whatever you want to call it. But we're here, they're here, we're all here. We go through levels where we build up things like light swords and protective shields. Put up your shields in your aura shield, different colors, make it rain fire from the dragon's breath and from the help from this being, and the light, and shine it. But I always see Shiva and all of his ilk across the board carrying a trident. pretty much walking barefoot. They look fantastic. They have snakes with them and tigers and lions and friends, and they look great and they feel great. And I'm like, why the trident? When I have to have swords and shields like angels and archangels and guardian angels and devils and monsters and flaming swords of light and all kinds of shit. I gained all my swords and all my things as I went. My armor of Ra, my protections, this, that, the other thing. And then I finally show up for business. And I realize, and I was telling Nick this, Zervo, shout outs. You get to the point where you're standing in front of the would-be God, right? Like the thing that you think is the thing when meanwhile it's you, right? And you get there and you start stripping off your armor, right? And it's like, are you going to step into the place of the man that is in charge of himself? Or are you going to bow to the God, the external piece of meat, flesh meat, that's just taller and bigger and has more people than you? So he bends down. Right, he throws everything down, and he gets up. And he's like, "I take my helmet off because it blocks my sight."
The guy from 300.
Yeah, he goes, "I put my sword down. It's no use at this distance. I stand up with my shield. I'm awkward. I can't throw right and balance correctly holding the shield." So he gets up, basically naked, in front of the external man god, and throws a spear in his face. From a far distance, where all hope is lost. You're dying no matter what. You kneel, something's bad's going to happen. And that spear alone cuts the man's face, because I say man, because he's not a god. He's a lowercase g, but he's actually just a man, right? That cut takes away the god from the man and just leaves man. And it leaves him open to attack now from every direction, from those giant armies, plus every other army that's coming. Why? Because you're not a god. Because I stood here in front of you naked and unafraid.
Right.
So I gained all of this just to realize I don't need it. I could stand here with this trident,
right,
and just use that. And that one strike from that, no matter if I die or not, your whole empire crumbles and falls.
That's why all I need is my little protection bubble. I don't need all the stuff that you have. That's
right.
All I need is my little protection bubble.
It's so intense when you think about it.
But it is, because it puts things into perspective. What are we really, like, what is the goal? What is your goal? Your job is to complete that, right? Your job is to get through the other side.
Yep.
You know, like, that's basically it. Whatever that goal is for the day, or the week, or the month, or the year, or the moment.
The situation.
Yeah, try to get through it. Because it can change at any time. You know, like, we're going through some stuff with Frank's grandma. You know, she's still sick. And, you know, thank you for everyone who's been patient with us. And, you know, but you come from a place of hope. That's all you can do.
Yo, I hear you, man. Xerxes was a man with the buffs and surrender and all that nonsense, but never met this creator. There's no sequel when you mess with us. Because we're fearless. We are the tribe and we have returned. I'm Frank Castle, your sorcerer supreme, and I'm here with Paula Milo, my ethereal